which I can't even begin to. And in spaces, they are coming on stage and they are threatening people. And that just breaks my heart. And I don't think that most people are aware that when these spaces are all recorded, whether they're being recorded or not, and they're held and they're reviewed. So everybody just please be kind to each other and let people speak and try to have their own opinion. And if your opinion is different, it's okay. But let's just try to be kind and not be threatening each other, especially those people that have families. And, that's a scary thought. So thank you, David, for being strong and speaking your truth.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I didn't speak the truth and I would fucking hide from, oh man, alright, Warrior, what's going on, man?
What's up? Yeah, man, this whole thing, just yesterday I had to talk a friend down for doing something bad, to themselves, and it's just what pisses me off the most is, you see founders that are showing you that their value system is just fucked up. And, they build something and you expect that to be somehow different or disconnected from the values of the person building it. Because you're building a community that's building it. So you're like, oh, well, we're co-creating, so we can somehow mask or displace whatever values that person is expressing that don't seem consistent with our own. But it's obviously not the case, because when things go bad, that person ultimately has to project a plan, has to use their value system to once again try to recoup. And all I see with the proposed solutions is just building a bad game on top of a shitty one. It's just how it is. A hard fork, or whether you just completely capitalize and take as many of the coins as you can, and then dump on everyone, and then try to somehow restore some stability. Either way, you're screwing people over in any single one of these scenarios. And again, it comes down to when are we gonna? We see this in low cap. Everybody in low cap, they love the NFT side, right? Everybody is digging at well, these founders are not, doing well. But then again, it seems like the founders that don't have values that are focused on people-centered solutions still seem to be the ones getting the most traction, getting the most hype, getting the most volume. So it's what's the level of complicity that we all have in this space? Can we check ourselves, and can we start looking at who's building them? What founders are we supporting? And I'm saying this coming with real world judgments here, because we also see in the real world, for instance, that, disproportionately, there's a certain demographic that gets most of the venture capital as compared to others. And so it's just cyclical, man. What we're seeing in this space is cyclical. We get founders that are connected to the money. They're using these kind of gamified solutions that are not people-centered in the end, in terms of ultimately mitigating risk factors for people. And then now we find ourselves in I think it's going to be just one of many stories we're going to see over the next 5 years. But it's frustrating for me, because half of the time, for anyone else leading a project here, half of the time you're literally just trying to show people that you are not that. And then everything that makes the newspaper is the person that had the resources, that had showed you who they were, and that ultimately it played out like any of us could have predicted. So anyway, that's a bit of a venting session, but it's hard for those of us who are here for other people, hearing and trying to talk people down from doing things, and to see that after this, someone will go ahead, next person.
I know some people have got heated here and there over the last days in other spaces. There's been some really constructive exchanges, and a lot of that we got to give credit to our facilitators. So, as a fan, member of this community, I thank you. And Warrior, you're right. We need more people like this space where you can learn and hear sometimes some unpleasant things coming from some people who've been around for a while.
I hate going into rooms that are filled with a bunch of yes people. And I think, my time being on spaces, I've had the pleasure to interact with people that I consider, but we don't agree with each other. I could definitely make that call on Jessica. Like, I'm sure you guys who tune into Jessica's show every Friday, Crypto and Coffee, like, we do not agree on anything, like zero. There is no, we don't even agree on what the weather forecast is going to be. Like, that's the type of shit that, you know, it happens. It is what it is, but we're friendly about it, and we do it in a mature fashion. I don't even think me and Haley agree with some shit. You know, she's probably laughing. She had to mute herself, but it's true. Like, I don't think we agree on a lot of stuff, but that's a good thing, because then, like, when I'm not saying purposely come into a room and don't disagree with somebody, but when you have different opinions, it allows you to sit back and think about shit and say, okay, maybe they might be right. Somebody might be right here, and let me go look at this again. It might be off, and that's the way I feel about Luna right now. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be Captain, excuse my language, I'm not trying to be Captain Save-A-Ho, all right? But, like, I'm trying to just say that I'm looking at the space right now, and the space that I got into was one that you were building dope shit, and I'm being told by others that, no, shut up, David. You shouldn't be talking that way. Allow everybody to do whatever the fuck they want. Okay. I mean, but at least if I'm in a room, I'm just going to express whatever I feel, man. Did I go into Luna? Yeah, I did, but I went into Luna not thinking, like, I know it's dead. I'm just like, whatever, I'm tossing it, and I lost money. I'm telling you guys, I lost money, but I lost money that I can afford to lose. I see a lot of messages that I get in my inbox, and I will let somebody enter my inbox, and you can see the amount of messages that I have saying that I lost money that my wife doesn't know about, I lost money that my husband doesn't know about, I lost money, and now I can't feed kids. All this random stuff, man. Maybe half of them aren't true. Maybe half of them are scammers. But regardless, what about the other half? Maybe they are true, and now there are people sitting there, you know, thinking of doing stupid shit to themselves. Like, 8 people did go ahead and commit suicide, but was it really 8 or more? Like, we need to just, like, honestly, like, come together as a community. I know that's repetitive, but really do come together and, like, build dope shit and continue to build dope shit, man, and get into real fucking projects. That's it. Listen, I've been a part of great projects, and I've been a part of, like, a shitty one, and
it's not even to knock the traders. You know, I just feel like it's a trap for anyone like, it's a trap. Like, just because people are trading doesn't mean that what has happened and transpired is right. You know what I mean? Like, there's a complete disconnect there. Like, there's just because someone is trading in order to feed their family does not mean that what happened and how it happened and how it was handled and the lack of communication and the shitty solution, like, it doesn't mean that any of that is right. So I'm just, you know, like, it's just like, this is a trap. This whole like scenario where people get teamed. This is literally what colonizers would do, right? Like, people are in this space to look, some to change the world completely, some to improve the lives of their family, some to do both. Like, to fight amongst one another, because, again, at the foundation of a solution, the values were inconsistent with the world that many of us want to see. Like, that is an entirely issue. Like, you know, we shouldn't be fighting with one another. Anyway, David, just sorry.
No, you're right. I agree, and I'll fight David up and down if I disagree with him. But we do have to repeat it, that we have to come together for the growth of this space and everything we're doing as a whole. And I'm so glad to be here, and the way that we have cycled back to the mental health aspect of it, because people are in bad situations. You know, in a bad place, and it's so important that we have that conversation. And over the last days, I've heard David bring that up again and again, and we've you know, been here for some people just to talk through it, just to know that they're not alone in it, because it's only over if we say it's over, right? And if we make that decision. So I'm appreciative to be here and be able to have those conversations instead of even just focusing on the financial aspect that is of course so important. But Warrior, you spoke from my head and my heart there. I was telling someone, if Luna were a low cap DeFi project, we were all involved in it, and it went the way it would have. Everybody would have abandoned it, moved on. It'd be a dead scam coin, a rug, or whatever we wanted to call it. The only difference here being that there was the capital to pour into it. It's just a different level, There's some sense of money. I'm not even going to say money because I don't know where it's coming from, but there's some idea that it's going to come from somewhere to build something better, and I'm just not sure where that is. And there's an audience because they were already there, but that's really the only difference from some different things that we've seen. And I've reached that point where I don't want to support that either, even off of speculation or money that could be made, because what are we doing